Get ready for something absolutely mind-blowing about everyone's favorite Blue Heeler dad. We've uncovered some fascinating evidence that suggests Bandit might be hiding an incredible secret. He could be a witch. That's right. Beneath that playful exterior and those silly games, there might be some real magic happening in the Heeler household. Theory number 1. The suspicious magic xylophone connection. When we first enter the world of Bluey in episode 1, Magic Xylophone, something incredibly suspicious happens that most viewers might have missed. While it seems like a simple game where kids freeze their dad with a toy xylophone, there are some mind-blowing details that suggest this isn't just pretend play at all. Let's analyze what happens in this episode more closely. When Bluey first gets her hands on the xylophone, she uses it to freeze Bandit in place. Now, here's where things get fascinating. Bandit doesn't just freeze when the kids are watching. He stays completely frozen even when they leave the room. We literally see him standing perfectly still while neighbors walk by, giving him strange looks. Think about this for a moment. What normal parent would commit this deeply to a game when they're being judged by their neighbors? The answer is simple: they wouldn't. But here's something even more incredible that you might have missed. Pay close attention to how Bandit responds to being frozen. His body goes completely rigid, his expression freezes mid-motion, and he doesn't even blink. This isn't just good acting. It's physically impossible for someone to stay that still unless they're actually under some kind of spell. And have you noticed that he never breaks character, not even for a split second? Even when the neighbor's sprinkler system starts spraying him, he doesn't flinch. The evidence becomes even more mind-blowing when Bingo finally gets her turn with the xylophone. In this scene, she manages to freeze both Bluey and Bandit simultaneously. Here's what makes this particularly suspicious. Bandit gets frozen in exactly the same way as Bluey, showing the same magical symptoms. If he were just playing along, wouldn't his frozen state look different from someone actually affected by the magic? But wait, there's something even more fascinating about this scene. When Bluey and Bingo start fighting over the xylophone, something incredible happens. Bandit suddenly demonstrates perfect knowledge of how to use this magical instrument. He doesn't hesitate, doesn't ask for instructions, and doesn't fumble with it. He just picks it up and freezes both girls perfectly on his first try. How would he know exactly how to use a magical item unless he had experience with magic before? Theory number 2, the mysterious magic teacher. Now let's dive into something absolutely mind-blowing about Bandit's role in the Heeler household. Throughout the series, and Bingo wielding magical powers. But have you ever wondered where they learned these abilities? The show gives us a fascinating clue in the episode Magic that changes everything we thought we knew. During this episode, we witness something incredibly revealing when Bluey teaches Bingo how to use magic powers. She casually mentions learning magic from her mom, but here's where things get interesting. Throughout the series, we consistently see Bandit displaying a much deeper understanding of magical concepts than Chili. He seems to know exactly how each magical item works, what its limitations are, and most importantly, how to control them when things get out of hand. But wait, there's something even more fascinating about Bandit's magical knowledge. Have you noticed how he always seems to know the exact rules of each magical occurrence? In Shadowlands, he understands precisely how the Shadow Realm works. In puppet mode, he knows exactly how puppet transformation affects motor skills. And in dance mode, he's somehow aware of the specific conditions that break the dance spell. This isn't just dad playing along. This is someone with intimate knowledge of magical mechanics. Here's something absolutely incredible that most viewers missed. Pay attention to how Bandit reacts when magic first appears in any episode. Unlike Chili, who often shows surprise or confusion, Bandit's reactions are more about resignation than shock. It's as if he's thinking, "Oh no, not this spell again." This is particularly evident in episodes like Tickle Crabs, where he seems to know exactly what's coming before it happens. And speaking of magical knowledge, let's talk about something mind-blowing from the episode Fairies. Not only can Bandit draw an accurate fairy picture, but he also demonstrates an encyclopedic knowledge of fairy lore. He knows their habits, their preferences, and even their social structure. When the fairies start causing chaos in the house, Bandit immediately knows it's because they're upset about something specific. How could he possibly have this level of detailed knowledge unless he had personal experience with magical creatures? But here's what makes this theory even more convincing. Watch how Bandit handles magical mishaps.
You ding-dongs were too busy squabbling.
Bandit doesn't panic. Instead, he calmly explains the concept of magical feedback and demonstrates the correct way to break the loop. This isn't just creative play. This is an experienced practitioner teaching fundamental magical concepts through games. Let's dive even deeper into the Magic Asparagus episode because it contains some incredible evidence. When Bandit transforms into different animals, he doesn't just make generic animal noises. He displays incredibly specific behavioral patterns. As a peacock, he demonstrates the exact tail-spreading ritual used in mating displays. As a walrus, he shows precise flipper positioning for optimal movement. Even as a donkey, he exhibits authentic behaviors like dust bathing and ear signaling. This level of detail goes way beyond what someone could learn from watching nature documentaries, and there's something absolutely fascinating about how he handles magical items in their home. Take the episode Feather Wand. When objects start becoming mysteriously heavy, Bandit doesn't question the logic of a feather having gravity-altering powers. Instead, he immediately starts working within the established rules of the spell, even finding creative ways to counter its effects. This suggests he has experience with similar magical items and understands their fundamental principles. However, perhaps the most mind-blowing evidence comes from watching how Bandit gradually introduces more complex magical concepts to his daughters. He starts with simple spells like freezing and transformation, then progressively moves to more complicated magic like time manipulation and reality alteration. This isn't just random. It follows the exact pattern you'd expect from an experienced magic teacher introducing concepts in a structured way. Theory number 3, the secret garden connection. Now, get ready for something that will completely transform how you view the Heeler family's backyard. We've noticed something absolutely incredible about their outdoor space that seems to defy the laws of physics. The backyard appears to have magical properties that can change and transform depending on what game the family is playing. And Bandit is always at the center of these supernatural occurrences. Let's examine this mind-blowing phenomenon more closely. In episodes like Shadowlands and Dance Mode, the backyard doesn't just serve as a playing field. It literally transforms into completely different worlds. The shadows become portals, the grass changes properties, and the space seems to expand far beyond its physical boundaries. But here's what's truly fascinating. Bandit navigates these magical spaces with suspicious ease, almost as if he's the one creating and controlling them. But the evidence becomes even more compelling when we look at the plant life in their yard. Remember that supposedly ordinary asparagus from Magic Asparagus? It just happened to have transformation powers growing right there in Bandit's garden. And what about those leaves in Daddy Drop-Off that could control time? These aren't random magical items appearing out of nowhere. They're all connected to Bandit's garden. Could this be a secret source of magical ingredients? The impact of this magical garden extends beyond just the Heeler family. Poor Pat seems to constantly get caught up in these supernatural occurrences. Whether he's being chased by imaginary creatures that seem suspiciously real, or finding himself transformed by proximity to their games, Pat appears to be affected by some sort of magical field emanating from Bandit's yard. The incredible thing is, these effects happen even when Pat isn't actively participating in their games. Now let's talk about something absolutely mind-blowing. the physics-defying properties of their backyard games. In Keepy Uppy, balloons float in ways that defy gravity. During Mount Mum and Dad, Bandit doesn't just pretend to be a mountain. The entire yard transforms into a mountainous landscape. And in Rug Island, their simple backyard somehow becomes a vast ocean with its own ecosystem. These aren't just imagination games, they're full-scale magical transformations. When we connect all these clues, a clear pattern emerges. The Heeler's backyard isn't just a normal suburban space. It's a carefully maintained magical garden with Bandit as its keeper. Think about it. The magical plants, the transforming spaces, the effect on neighbors, and the way Bandit seems completely at home in these supernatural environments. It all points to one conclusion. Bandit isn't just playing along with magical games. He's actively creating magical spaces for his family. So, what do you think about these mind-blowing theories? Let us know in the comments section, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel.